Alright, what's up guys? JR here. It is Thursday, May 4th, 2017, and this is going to be our live trade for today / the week. What I have right here is a failed second entry short, so basically we get our new low right here, we get our first entry right there, pull back, your second entry triggers right here, and then it fails once this big bullish bar breaks above these matching highs. So what I did was I went ahead and put a stop one tick above this bar when we went out the bottom and continued to go out of the top. So what I'm expecting to happen is most likely I think we're going to come back up here and retest these highs, and we may even go on up and retest the highs for the day. So I'm actually going to, first let me get a measured move and measure this first leg up and see where that puts us for the runner. So initially our first target is going to come off at one point, which is going to be 86.25, and then we will figure out the second target. So a measured move puts us up there at 88 flat. Let me see how that lines up with certain levels. That's an okay target, but I think we're going to go higher, so I'm actually going to just go ahead and scoot that up to about 2 ticks before the high of the day. And as you can see, we're moving up pretty nicely now, so we're probably going to get that first target in a second. All this is a trap. They trapped people to the short side, and now they're running their stops, and that's why we have so much buying coming into the market. Yeah, overall it appears to be a range day, and this is actually my first trade of the day. I didn't really like any of these setups. There was a short right here. I didn't particularly care for the bar, and I didn't like going short into that area of support. I didn't like anything down here, and then there was a failed second entry short right here. I wasn't too much of a fan of that. I didn't like the bar. You had a double top. Just didn't look that clean to me. And then this is the first trade that I see that I'm actually a fan of and feel like taking. And another thing, I just want to thank you guys for your comments on the last video I uploaded. I know I haven't responded to those comments. I've been pretty busy this past weekend and this past week, and I haven't had time to really sit down and respond to those comments. I may not respond to those comments, but I do appreciate them. There were some really good comments on there. I just want to thank you guys for your feedback and your input. It's great to see how you're responding to this, hear your thoughts and feelings when it comes to this stuff, and listen to your own personal experiences, because I feel like that helps. I feel like it provides a good kind of source for people to come in, analyze and compare the way their experience is to someone else's, and kind of give and take, and take away what they need to kind of make it to the next steps in their trading. So I just want to thank you guys for sharing some of your input. I know someone shared a book that they read, Trading in the Zone, and there was another person who talked about how they meditate and things of that nature that just kind of help them to perfect their personal psychology when it comes to trading, because anyone who's attempted to do this, you all pretty much know that this stuff is not easy. It's not really a stroll through the park. One day it will be, but the process of getting there is not a stroll through the park, and this is anything but simple. There's a reason why 90+% of people who attempt to do this end up failing, and it's not easy. So I just want to thank you guys for your feedback. I want to thank you for your comments. They were helpful, and I'm just glad that you guys were able to share what works for you and what you find to be helpful. So hopefully we can get this first contract off so that I can go ahead and pause it, because I don't want this video to go on for too long, but it's looking like we're going to do that now. So and let me just explain why I went long here again. So it's a range day. We came off the lows, so ideally the context tells you that when you come off one side of a range, you're most likely headed to the other side. I had a trend line working up. First I drew this initial skinnier channel working up. You get a break, you get a couple legs up to a new high. Then I drew one off these first two swings, which I like the fit of that, because if you notice, we bounce right there and then we pull back, we respond to it again and bounce off of it again. It also fits on the upper end, so let me put that there so you can see it. It also fits on the upper end. I just only have one line on there because I prefer the look of one line. Sometimes it looks cleaner than having two lines. It's a bit cluttered. It's a lot for the eyes to take in at once. So as you can see, it fits. I'm just going to take that off. So I'm thinking we're going to get a retest of this high. And if you notice, this area was once support, turned into resistance now. And that's another reason why we want to get out before we get up here. And then I think once we do break above this, we should get a nice little pop to the upside again. I don't know if we're going to get this runner. That's pretty steep. I think that is, what is that, 4 3/4 points. But yeah, we should at least get a retest of these highs. So, but yeah, as you can see, that turned into resistance, and we're tapping off our order right now. So hopefully that turns out, and I can go ahead and pause this because I don't want this to be longer than 10 minutes. I like to keep these short and directly to the point. Your time is valuable. My time is valuable, and I don't think anyone wants to sit down and watch a long video. So just want to keep these short. But I'm going to pause it right now, actually, because, yeah, I'm just going to pause it for a second. Alright, so we're tapping off that order again. Let me go ahead and mark this trade. Alright, so we got that one right there. Extend that line on over. We should see a pop when we break above this. That's what I'm thinking. This was a pretty good trade. I like that one. It's just a failed second entry short. New low right here. And if you notice, these closes are progressively getting higher. So your low starts right there, and then you get a push up, higher low, higher low, higher low again. And this is your initial low that you want to begin counting off of. So your first entry is right there, and then this is your second entry, and then you get a failure right off the EMA. Big bullish reversal bar. It went out the bottom and then broke out of the top, all in the same bar. That's what you want to see right there. It doesn't get much better than that. So that's a good trade, and you have enough room before you make it to the highs up top here. It's a really nice setup. But just gonna go to pause, and I'll let you know how this runner turns out. It's a bit of a reach, 4 3/4 points, trying to take it off a few ticks before the high. We could get it, we could not, but we'll see. Usually I go for 2 points on these, but I feel like there's potential, and sometimes on these range days you may want to try and take it off at the highs or the lows, or you may just want to scalp out in full because you don't always get runners like you would on a trend day. But I'm going to see if I can take it off at the high. Hopefully we don't pull back to this EMA before we make it all the way up top there, but we'll see what happens. But for now, just back to pause. Oh yeah, and one more thing that I want to point out is that if you notice, this high for our high of the day has been an important high for a few days, actually, because if you look at this one right here, those closes, that's that same level, which is pretty interesting how this stuff comes back into play day after day. So just something to be thinking about when you're trading. But yeah, that's it. Alright, so it's not looking too good for this runner. This resistance is looking like it may hold. So we may not get this runner. We could get stopped out right here, that's looking likely, but we'll see. It's another reason why you always kind of want to exit before critical highs and lows, because you don't necessarily know if you're actually going to break through them or if they're going to hold, and you're better off to get out before it instead of trying to figure out whether or not you will make it through there. So just something to think about. But yeah, we're going to go back to pause and we'll see what happens with this runner. Alright, so we just got stopped out on that runner portion. So it's a bit unfortunate, but it's not to be unexpected when you have resistance right here. So just always trying to exit a few ticks before critical areas of support and resistance. But basically this is just a failed second entry short right off your EMA. It's a trap. And I was looking for a retest of the high for this this short-term trend line working up. It's also a range day, so when you come off one end of your range, most likely you expect to head to the other side. So that's why I like taking this to the upside. Just a simple trade, nice big bullish bar. We broke out of one end and then the other end all in the same bar. So I went ahead and put a stop one tick above this bar, and it worked out nicely for a scalp. And that's about it. We may continue going higher and retest these highs, or we could just flip off this possible midline, which this probably is the midline. I haven't done the measurements to see if that's the exact distance, but this probably is a midline. We may just flip off of it, go back down and retest these lows, or break through it and keep going. But either or, we don't know, and it doesn't really matter. We just need to follow the price action short term usually. And that's pretty much it. So this is JR. I'll see you guys sometime next week. Thank you again for your comments on the last video. I apologize for not responding. Still not completely sure if I will respond, just because it's days later and I don't really have that much time to sit down and respond to each and every one of them. But I do appreciate them. Thank you guys for that. And I'll see you guys sometime next week.